my knit friends, and welcome to another episode of the Woldenburn podcast. My name is Emily, and I'm coming to you from Kentucky, where I live with my husband and our beautiful little baby boy, who is currently napping and will hopefully stay that way while I film this. I kind of last minute decided to film this. I was thinking about it last night and then kind of this morning, and I had some things to kind of share and talk about as far as knitting stuff, so I thought, why not? Go ahead and do it. There's no reason why not to. So we've got a decent amount of things to talk about today. My plan is I've got some finished objects to talk about, a work in progress to talk about, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go through a basket of my works in progress that most of them I haven't touched in a while, some of them longer than others, and we're going to kind of talk through them. Some of them we're going to be doing kind of a frog or finish sort of a thing, because I've just been kind of thinking about all of the projects that I have on the go, and there's some of them that I'm going to either start over or just do something different with the yarn. And I thought that'd be kind of fun to kind of talk through. Also, happy September. I know there are many people that are very excited for fall to arrive, and I don't know what it is about like Kentucky and Tennessee, but sometimes it has this weird thing where it like gets the memo and it's almost like September 1st happens and the temperatures just drop, and instead of being in like the 90s, mid to upper 90s, it has, we've been getting some rain and stuff, and so all this next week it's supposed to be in the mid to low 80s, if not like the mid 70s, and I'm so excited about it. It was so hot in August, which is to be expected. August is full-on summertime. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the temperatures kind of cooling off a little bit. Anyway, I guess you could kind of call this, instead of spring cleaning, this is sort of fall cleaning. I'm kind of thinking through and trying to consider, like, am I going to do any gift knitting for Christmas this year? There's my husband's birthday is coming up. I have a project I want to knit for him. I have, like I said, Christmas, and I want to make baby Tam some stuff. And then just stuff for me, like, you know, fall time things. So I kind of want to get some of this stuff done and out of the way so that I can do the new projects. That being said, let's just go ahead and jump right into it with what am I wearing. This is the Digory tee, which is a pattern by Devin of the Knitting McPurley podcast. It is supposed to be going live this Friday, I believe, the 8th. I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming out. It's just a really lovely t-shirt. I have some pictures that my husband took, and I'll try and pop up a couple. But yeah, it's just a really nice fingering weight t-shirt. It was finished last time. I finished weaving all the ends and blocked it and everything, and I really like it. I keep yawning, so I keep having to like cut the video. Babies and sleep sometimes mix and sometimes don't, and baby Tam, for the most part, doesn't mix well. Anyway, it's fine. He'll figure it out at some point. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a different style than I normally would knit, and technique-wise. So it's knit bottom up, and then you separate for the front and the back, and then you keep knitting the front up, and then you stop and you separate like this section and this section, and you do some short rows to shape for the shoulder, and then you leave those stitches live, and then you do the same thing on the back, and then you seam it together. I use the 3 needle bind off, which you can kind of see. It leaves a little ridge there. The pattern said that you could use Kitchener stitch or 3 needle bind off, and 3 needle bind off was just faster. I don't mind doing a Kitchener stitch, but I was trying to get it done, and I was like, honestly, I don't mind a seam being there. I'm fine with the seam. It doesn't need to be all invisible for me. And I've never done a Kitchener stitch over this many stitches. I can't remember how many it is. It's like 40 or something for my size. I did the 3rd size in the pattern. And I was just like, yeah, that's not happening. But I really do like it. I think I'm going to get a decent amount of wear out of it as just sort of like a light layering piece when it's kind of cooling down, but not, oh sorry, my phone just buzzed something and I'm like, wait a minute, that appointment is not today. Whew. Okay, no, that's next week. Okay, I need to change that. Sorry. Minor panic attack. Anyway, what I was saying, I think that I will be able to wear a decent amount in the fall time when it's not like really cold, but it's like a little bit chilly. Because that's one of the things that I found is that I can't wear a sweater like this in the summertime. Like, it's just not happening. It is so humid and so hot that even a fingering weight light sweater like this, it's way too warm. The wool is enough to just make it not a good time. But the other evening I had popped it on to try and get some pictures, and I didn't like how they turned out, but I left it on when my husband and I took the baby for our evening walk that we try to do pretty regularly, and it was actually really comfortable. We were having a very cool day. Like, that day was very, very cool, and so it had cooled down in the evening and it was so nice. Like, yeah, it's lovely. So I can definitely see myself knitting some more, maybe 1 or 2 more. I have some yarns in my stash that would work great for this because I just striped 2 of my hand-dyed yarns that I've had in my stash for such a long time. And it only took me 2 skeins, and I had a decent amount left over. So I could definitely see myself making another one of these. I almost ran out. I was putting a little bit of yarn chicken with the lighter color here, the speckledy one. I thought that I was gonna run out, and I was like, oh shoot. But I didn't. I had just enough to finish it up, and then I didn't weigh it, but I imagine it's probably somewhere around 20 grams of the fuchsia pink color, and I had a little bit more than a full skein of the pink, so that's probably why. But yeah, it was just a great pattern. It's lots and lots of stockinette, so for the body portion, it's just knitting in the round, and then you do have to do some back and forth when you split for the sleeves, but it wasn't too bad. It was a little bit slower, but it was fun. One thing that I forgot to mention last time is, let me kind of see if I can stand up and show you. So here on the bottom where I did it in the round, I had decided to do 5 rounds of each color, but then when I split, I realized that by doing 5 rounds, what was happening is I was ending up with the yarn on the opposite side of the other yarn. So I would knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, and then my other yarn is over on this side, and so then I was having to cut this yarn to put it over here, and I was having to do so many tails, and I was like, I'm definitely gonna run out of yarn. So what I ended up doing is I just switched on the back and forth after you separate for the sleeves. I just switched to doing 4 rounds, and I really don't think you can tell. I don't know if it's something that maybe like my gauge changed a little bit. Like, I kind of measured and I kind of looked at it and I was like, I think this is gonna work. So that's kind of a fun little story detail, if you will. That, yeah, so you can kind of see right here. So this one has 5 rounds and this one has 4. Because I started doing it partway through when I was knitting the front. And so you can kind of tell, but nobody's going to be sitting there going, like, it's fine. It's not that obvious. But anyway, yes, this pattern is going to be out on Friday, September 8th, I believe. And you can get it on Devon's website, which is knittingmcpearly.com. She doesn't have she doesn't sell her patterns on Ravelry. They're there, but it just links to her website. So yeah, I'll have her website linked down below so you can check it out. But moving on, oh, actually, back up. I wanted to mention that the little sea berry that I shared last time as a finished object is now available. This is a pattern by Emily of the Blue Mouse Knits, and it is now live on Ravelry. So if you want like a really classic, basic child's raglan sweater that's super easy, super fun to knit out of DK weight yarn, it's available now. So I will have that directly linked down below as well. And then my one and only finished object is, oh my goodness, there's threads all over this. I have finished the Passport Pullover, which is a pattern by Hannah of Hannah G Knits, and this was my third test knit, so I've got all of my test knits done. Hallelujah. And I just finished this one. It's blocked and done. I've taken pictures, I've submitted everything. We're good to go. This pattern is coming out very soon. It might also be Friday, September 8th, but I can't remember for sure, but it's within the next week, I believe. So yeah, I knit this out of the Sirdar Jewel Spun yarn, which is an interesting yarn. It's like a single ply sort of a twist. I should have brought the ball so I could show you, but it comes in like this big huge ball. It has like 500 and something yards in it. It's like a 200 gram ball. I weighed this and it was like 100 and something, like it was like just over half of the ball. So that's fantastic. I bought that ball when we were in Wisconsin, so it was like $18 maybe. I can't remember if it was 17 or 18, but my local yarn store has the exact same yarn for $15 for a ball. So if you can get an entire child sweater out of one ball of yarn, that's fantastic. And I have plenty left. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make him baby Tam a matching little hat. That would be really cute. But anyway, back to the Passport Pullover. So the fun thing about this one is that it is a saddle shoulder detail, is what that's called. So instead of like the sea berry, the little sea berry, where you've got the raglan increases, whoop, this way, along there, this one has this really interesting saddle shoulder detail. And yeah, I knit the 4th size, and I will say Hannah has so many sizes in her patterns. I love that. I will continue to knit her patterns because 1, they're really fantastic designs, but 2, she just has so many sizes, so they're so worth the purchase price. I think it goes all the way from newborn to like a 10 or 12-year-old size, so really, really economical pattern to purchase. So back to this. The pattern is designed to be used like scraps and leftovers, so she designed it to have some stripes in it, and I didn't. This is just a color changing yarn that I had in my stash, and so I just did it all one color. And you can kind of see the differences, that it just kind of shifts and changes. And I did end up doing just a little bit of yarn management here. I had picked up the stitches for the sleeve, and I realized that there was going to be a whole section of really like light colored yarn, kind of like this section here, but it was going to look really jarring right there on the sleeve. So I ended up, I snipped, I had already knit like a couple rounds, and I was like, I don't want to rip that out. So I just snipped the yarn and wound off a little ball, until I got back to the slightly darker color. Because the other thing too is I didn't want the 2 sleeves to be like crazy different. Like they're obviously like, there's one sleeve, there's the other sleeve. Like they're obviously different, but I didn't want it to be like super light stripe for most of the sleeve. And then it worked out too, because I took that ball and I just used it for the neckline, and I was like, oh, I'll just use this up for here. I didn't realize that it actually matches up very, very well with the top of the sweater. So that worked out perfectly. But yeah, I'm so happy about this. I very much can see this being just a really cozy, snuggly, like play sweater, because again, this was very, very inexpensive yarn. It's 100% acrylic, and so I need to look it up. I can't remember if you can throw it in the washer, in the dryer, but it's one of those things where it's like, this one's made out of all hand-dyed yarn and wool and everything, and it's just a little bit nicer yarn. This one, I can just see it being so practical. I can pop this on the little boy when he's running outside, and it'll keep him nice and cozy and warm. And if he gets it muddy and dirty, like, it's a sweater that I don't have to be too precious about. Not that you should be precious about any of your hand knits, but I think any other moms out there will know what I mean. So I'm very, very pleased with this. I could probably see myself knitting another one, but I do enjoy, I don't know actually. I was gonna say I enjoy the process of knitting the raglan sweater more than the saddle shoulder, but they're really not that different. It's just a different way of increasing. So I don't know, I could see myself knitting both of these patterns again. Probably more likely the Seaberry, just because I really, really enjoyed it. And I love the stripes that the colors that I picked. I love the sweater so much. And I did take some pictures. I had to take pictures to put up on my Ravelry pages. So I took some pictures. I'll see if I can maybe pop in one of Baby Tam wearing each of these. It is very difficult to take pictures of a 1-year-old wiggly little boy when you're trying not to show his face. It was a fun time. But yes, so that's my only finished object, but I got that done, I got this done, I got everything done, I got everything turned in, and I was just like, okay, I need another project. So I thought about casting on a new project for like half a minute, and then I was like, no. Go pick up one of your other languishing WIPs and do that. So, what I ended up doing, okay, well I meant to do this before I started filming. I'm partway through a row. I'm really close to the end. So, let me finish this quickly. I started in March. If you've watched my podcast for a while, you know that I was talking about that I knit a little cardigan for my husband's cousin. They had a little boy back in like March, and so I was making a little cardigan for them. And I had picked one pattern, and I was cast it on, I was knitting away at it, and I realized, I was like, ooh, this isn't gonna work for them. They live in Texas, and it's probably already very warm there, even though it's March. This is gonna be a little bit impractical for them. So I put that pattern down, and I picked up the newborn vertebrae pattern, which I shared last time, which is just a very classic, simple baby pattern that just has very, very narrow front pieces. It's like almost just the button bands. Well, it doesn't have buttons on it, but the front bands that just kind of tuck around, so it leaves the front of the sweater very, very open, which is so practical for babies. And I knit that one. It's knit out of a fingering weight yarn, so I was like, okay, this is going to be perfect. The original pattern then kind of sat for a bit. I had worked on it here and there after I finished the newborn vertebrae and had gifted that. But I just kind of left that original cardigan sitting. And it is the Joyous Baby Cardigan. I think that's what it's called. I'll have it linked down below. And it's this beautiful garter stitch cardigan. Whoa, a knitting needle is poking into my sweater. I love this. It's so squishy. I had stopped. So this has a really interesting design. You knit the yoke. I dropped the yarn again. You knit the yoke, and then you kind of stop, and you knit the sleeves. They're knit flat. You can knit them in the round, but I went ahead and knit them flat so I could just knit rather than having to like knit purl. So you knit one sleeve, and then you snip the yarn, leave a long tail, and then you knit the other sleeve, snip the yarn, leave a long tail. Then you're supposed to seam up the sleeves, and then you go back to working back and forth with the body. You pick up a few stitches for each sleeve, under the underarm of each sleeve, and then work the rest of the body. Man, sometimes people drive by the road in front of our house so quickly. Speed limit's 25, people. Anyway, I had left it with both sleeves done, and I don't know, I felt a little bit maybe intimidated by like seaming up the sleeves and stuff. It's just because it's a different construction from what I've done before. So I was sitting there, I finished all my stuff, and I was like, you know what? It's not that hard. Let's just do it. Let's do it and get it done so that I can have this project finished. It was so easy. I just did like a mattress stitch on the bottom. Piece of cake. So you get that done, you pick up a few few underarm stitches, and you just knit. And it is amazing. I could see myself making several of these as gifts or for my future babies or whatever. Like, oh, I want one my size of this. It is so lovely. It's just like miles and miles of squishy garter stitch, and I love garter stitch so much. I just find it to be the ultimate cozy knitting stitch, and it's like the easiest knitting stitch because it's just knitting. So I love it. I love it so much. And you do these little buttonholes. You can kind of see. And then you just knit it as long as you want it to be. I've just done my 4th buttonhole here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work down, so you space them apart. I'm going to work down, I'm going to do a 5th buttonhole, and then if I have enough yarn, knit like just a little bit more, like maybe an inch further, and then bind off there. But yeah, I love this so much. It has been so fun to work on. Like driving, my husband's done some of the driving recently when we've been going to visit his parents. We visit them probably once a week or once every couple of weeks. And it's about a 40-minute drive. And so usually what we'll do is we'll alternate. One of us will drive there, one of us will drive back, and that way neither of us have to drive the whole amount. And so this has been so perfect because I don't even have to think about it now. You just knit, and then I love it. So the yarn that I'm using, that I keep throwing on the floor, is the Barocco Vintage Baby, which is a blend of 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. And I love this. I love this so much. My local yarn store sells it for $5 a ball, and this is my 3rd ball that I'm putting into this. And it's kind of squishy. I think I'll have enough to do, like I said, one more buttonhole and then just a little bit more. But yeah, and oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. I'm knitting the 2nd size. This is another pattern where I think the designer does it where there's like 0 to 24 months, and then there's for the baby sizes, and then there's the children sizes, which I think goes up to like a 10-year-old. It's like 2 to 10 or something like that. So this one, it's really interesting though, because she does a very like small sizes. So she does newborn. I think this is the 0 to 1 month size, which, to be honest, like, I haven't checked gauge. I did not gauge swatch. This is for a baby. I don't care if it's a little bit off on the sizing. This is definitely like big enough for a bigger than a 1-month-old baby, unless you have a really big baby. And maybe I'm just thinking about my baby because he was really tiny. He stayed in newborn clothes for like 6 weeks. Like, it was a long time, maybe even longer than that. Like, he had to wear preemie clothes for the first couple of weeks. He was so tiny. So I'm like, man, he would have fit this at like 6 months old. Anyway, so this is the 0 to 1 month size, and then there's just the baby size for the 0 to 24 month pattern is just really broken up into smaller increments. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I love it. I love it. And I'm very, very happy to be getting a languishing WIP off of the needles. Which leads very well into my discussion of all of the works in progress that I have on the needles at the moment. And then I also do have a little acquisition and a knitting plan. So let's just dive right in. So first off, why is this bag so heavy? What is in here? Oh, I guess it's just because there's a lot of yarn in there. Okay. This is a project that I want to work on so badly. Like, this is part of why I want to take a break from test knits, and unless my favorite designers start coming out with more patterns, y'all need to stop. And I want to get some of these other projects done because I love this project so much. This is just like pure happiness project for me. This is my just mitered square blanket that I am making with 4 different ones of my hand-dyed yarn, and I paired them together. They're very springy and just, it's all garter stitch, squishy beautifulness, and I love it. I love it so much. And yeah, I think I'm using a, if I remember correctly, this is a size 4 needle, US size 4, and I'm doing, when you cast on, you do an even number plus 1 for like the middle, so I think I do 61 stitches total, so it's like 30 stitches, 1 stitch for the middle, and then 30 stitches. And I love this. I love this so much. I haven't worked on it in such a long time. It's one of those projects where it's like, it almost always feels like you're making a good amount of progress because each square takes so little time to do. And it's just, I love it. I am hoping to work on this some more, probably like this kind of fall, winter. But yeah, this is definitely not getting frogged. And I just have this in a little canvas bag that I made for myself years ago now. I appliqued these little cherries on it, and I was just so proud of it. And it has honestly ended up being one of my favorite bags. I need to kind of try and remember how I made it, because I did like, oh, fuzz. I did a really great job, I would say. I like enclosed all of the seams, and then in the bottom, well, you can kind of look at the yarn in there. In the bottom where it was all raw seams, I covered that all with bias binding. So like there are no raw seams on this bag. And then I just folded over some canvas to make the handles. Like, it's a really nice bag. And I have used it so much. I love it. But yes, so that project is definitely being kept. It's very much a long-term blanket project. The next one is in this beautiful bag that was gifted to me by Susan, who has the Delightful Works Etsy shop. She makes amazing project bags. I'll link her shop down below. You should definitely check it out. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good. I thought I heard a baby. She makes gorgeous project bags, and she gifted this to me earlier in the summer. And in here I have my, I've been calling them like my seated rib socks, and these were just made based off of a stitch pattern that I found in a knitting stitch dictionary book. And I'm knitting this out of, it's the same base, the Barocco Vintage Sock. So it's the acrylic wool and nylon blend in the rhubarb colorway. I'm pretty sure I'm going to frog this one. I like it, but it's so slow going and I don't love it. So I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? Just frog it. Make some Hermione's Everyday socks or some other sock like that. that will go a bit quicker and you'll enjoy more. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna frog it because I haven't finished the first sock even, so yeah. I'm also looking at this and I'm pretty sure, I can't quite tell if I got off on my ribbing when I separated for the heel, but yeah. So these ones I'm pretty sure I'm gonna frog and just do some sort of fun other pattern that I will enjoy more and want to work on, because I found myself like I'll make up all these excuses to not work on it, and I'm like, well, that's a sign. So there's that one, and then I have another sock project in here. I don't know why this one has just been taking me for such a long time. This is in some opal yarn. This is from their Van Gogh collection. And it's just a basic vanilla sock. But I don't know. I don't know why I haven't been working on it. This one, I think I'm going to keep this one. But honestly, this would be, if I frog that one, I think that's part of it, is that because I have that other sock project on the go, I don't work on this one as much. So I think if I frog the other one, this one will get done really quickly because I really want these. I just love this yarn. It's so, so beautiful. So this one's, what? I'm throwing needles. This one isn't going to get frogged, at least not yet. I'm gonna give it a shot at finishing it. Cause yeah, I would really like to finish these because it's just really beautiful yarn. Yeah, so that one. And then actually, I thought I had a lot more projects on the go than I do. I was kind of stressing about it a little bit because I was like, man, I've got so many things that are going, and I just, and then when I was pulling them out for this, I was like, oh, I really don't. I will mention there's two of them that I didn't grab. One of them because it's in the car. Well, technically there's two projects in the car. One is just a very basic like garter stitch blanket that's just kind of been my emergency car knitting. It is such a slow going project. But there's that one, and then when we were going to visit my husband's parents, I had tossed the baby cardigan and then the other project in there, and it's just a pair of socks that I am knitting for my husband 2 at a time, and I didn't want to go out and get them, so we're not seeing those. I'm not frogging those. They're just going to be another one that's going to take a minute to get done. And then the last project that I didn't bring, I thought about it but I didn't, I have like a granny square crocheted blanket that I'm working on, and it's basically done. I just need to figure out what I'm doing for the border. So that one's another blanket project that I'm not frogging it. It's just going to be a little bit, before it gets done. But anyway, so then the last two that I have are both garments. So this one is in another gorgeous, gorgeous project bag by Susan of Delightful Works, and oh, she gifted it to me. I love it. Oh, here's a little tag. Ta-da! She's an amazing seamstress. Like, these are so well made. This is my Tulsa tee. And I was so excited about this pattern when it came out. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to frog it. I don't love how it's turning out. And I think part of that is because of the slip stitch detail that I was doing. My plan with this is I'm going to try it on one more time. I'm going to kind of look at it and consider it. Because the other problem too was that I can't quite tell if I made it one size too big. Like, it's a little bit too like loose and baggy on me. And so I lost steam on it because I wasn't happy with it. And that's the thing where I can't tell you how many knitting podcasts I've watched where they say, if you're not happy with the project, just rip it out. So I'm going to try it on one more time, kind of look at it, really consider it, and be like, okay, do I think that if I power through and finish it, that I will love it? And if not, frog it. Like, there's no big deal, rip it all out. I'm knitting this out of Drops Bell in 3 different colors, and this is a, what is it, viscose? Cotton, viscose, and linen blend. 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen. And it's in yeah, 3 different colors. And I do really like this yarn. I think part of my issue is that the pattern is designed to be knit as a pretty loose gauge. And I just don't love super loose gauge projects. And my gauge is even a little bit tighter than what the pattern calls for. So yeah, I just need to think about this. I'm leaning towards frogging it and starting over. Because I do really, really like the pattern. It's a very classic raglan t-shirt sort of a pattern. And I could see myself getting so much wear out of it. But I think I need to kind of rethink it, maybe choose a different size, or maybe use the same size but go down another needle size and make the gauge just a little bit closer. So I was originally thinking about leaving this on the needle, casting on a new one. And I got enough drop spell yarn to make 2. And so I was thinking about, you know, maybe I'll just leave this one, cast on another one, and make some adjustments and see how I like that one. And if I do like that better, then frog this one and redo it. And I might still do that. I'm not 100% sure. But yes, so this one it has been in the naughty pile. Let's just put it that way. So this one is probably going to get frogged and just redone. I think the other thing too is I probably would like it better if maybe the stripes were a little bit narrower. I'm not 100% sure. So that one. And then this beautiful thing. I just kind of lost steam on this one a little bit because I was working on it, and then I think it kind of the weather started warming up. This gorgeousness is my festival sweater, and I love this so much. I have been thinking about it. I almost picked this one up to finish it instead of the baby cardigan, but then I was like, no, the baby cardigan, I can get that one done so much faster and then just not even have that project to think about. But oh, I love this sweater so much. I can't wait to get it done. I lost steam because I was trying to figure out the best way to knit the sleeves. Like, that's what happened. I was having issues with, I was trying different like small needle circumference and then double pointed needles, and then I realized I just needed to use 2 circular needles, and that has been taking care of it for me. And I'm knitting this out of my hand-dyed yarn, which is the main color, and then this beautiful contrast color is Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. in the 40 and Cogs colorway, and it is a fingering weight that I am holding double. Because this is a DK weight sweater. And I forgot to mention, this is the festival sweater, my size, by Petite Knit. And I just, oh, I love it. I want more than one of these. Like, the bobble thing, that it's like a stripe thing, but like a little bit different. Also, I've realized that the lighting has kind of darkened a lot. It's kind of a rainy day today, so apologies for that, but you know, can't really control the weather. But yes, this is a definite finish. I'm planning to, as soon as I finish that baby cardigan, this one's getting pulled back out, and I'm gonna work on the sleeves because I want this for this fall so badly. And I can't wait. I can't remember, I think I'm making the 3rd or the 4th size. I usually end up around the 3rd to 4th size in most knitting patterns that I knit for myself. So it's one of those 2. And I know that Petite Knit, for a lot of her patterns, she calls for a lot of ease, like a lot of ease. And I'm definitely not doing that. I don't like massively oversized things. With my body shape and frame size and everything, it just doesn't look great. It can be a little bit oversized, but I can't really pull off the like massive oversized look. So, but yes, I'm very excited about it. And actually, if you remember from my last episode where I talked about the beautiful yarn that Emily from Night Bright Yarn Co. sent me, there's the Coral Reef colorway. I didn't bring it with me. I realized a festival sweater in like a gray, either a lighter gray or maybe like a richer, deeper gray, with that as the contrast. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like, I thought about that and I was just like, yes, that's it. that's what I'm going to make out of it. Because the other thing too is that with the fingering weight, you really don't use that much. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm only going to use 1 skein of fingering weight, of the fingering weight held double for the contrast, for this whole sweater. Because I have the one sleeve and then the other sleeve, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get away with knitting it with just 1 skein, which means that I will have an extra skein of the coral reef colorway left over that I can use for like a little shawl or some socks or something. So that's my plan, is to make this sweater. But I'll have to dye up. I think I still have some Bare DK yarn that I'll just have to dye in a pretty gray color. But yes, I'm itching to get back to working on this one. Yeah, like I said, I was so close to pulling it out and starting working on it. But I was like, you know what? Do the baby sweater, get that one done, then you can work on it. So that is all my works in progress that I have. Then I have some acquisitions to share and then a little knitting plans, but I'm gonna run and use the bathroom real quick because I've been drinking a bunch of water this whole time, so I'll be right back. Okay, I've tried to move a little bit closer to the window so that the lighting's still a little bit better, but anyway, acquisitions. So, as I mentioned last time, Stephanie of Texas Peach Knits, Holly from A Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. and I are doing a book club called the Fancy Reading Needlecraft Club. And we are currently reading our first book, and it is An Old-Fashioned Girl by Louise May Alcott. And this is my copy. This was the first like really special sort of a book that I bought for myself. It has beautiful illustrations throughout. I think I got it off of eBay, and at the time it was pretty expensive for me. I think it was like $10 or $15 or something like that. And I got it because this is like in my top favorite books of all time. Like, I love it so much. So this is the first book we're reading for our book club. And Holly from Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. dyed. She has her yarn company. So she dyed a special skein of yarn specifically for the yarn club. I think the listing is closed now. I think the listing is closed. I think it closed yesterday to pre-order. Like, anybody could order it. It wasn't just the book club, but she designed it inspired by the book. And then Susan from Delightful Works made project bags kind of inspired by the book club. And these two lovely ladies are amazing and incredibly generous, and they did some form of a swapsy sort of a thing. I don't know exactly, but basically they gifted me both the bag and the yarn, and it just really made my day when Holly told me that's what they were doing. And then when I got here, I just amazing. So first off, here's a project bag. It is the most beautiful project bag I have ever owned. It's the most beautiful bag. I love the fabric. It's just everything. When I was a little girl, I was very much, pink was my favorite color. I loved pink. And then I got a little bit older, and I think I started to feel kind of embarrassed about being too girly and feminine, and I developed like womanly curves really early on and everything, and I just didn't know how to fit this new, more womanly, feminine body. And so I just kind of was like, no, pink is no longer my favorite color. I don't love pink anymore. And I was just kind of, in a way, was just scared and pushed away a lot of like the feminine clothing and stuff. I would wear jeans and oversized baggy t-shirts and stuff just because I was like so embarrassed and scared and whatnot. And then as I've gotten older and wiser, if you will, I have just, especially I think in just like the last couple of years, I've been like, no, I do love pink. I love pink so much, and how girly and feminine it is, and it's just, So, so lovely. And I don't wear a lot of pink because I have a hard time finding like the right shades that I think look good on me. I find it very easy to find like shades of blue that look good on me. Like I'm wearing a blue dress here, or like greens usually, or like floral prints. I find it easiest to do like blues and things. So they're still feminine, but they're not pink. And I would love to, well, actually, I made a pink dress while I was pregnant with the baby, and I really, really liked it. Like, that was the most perfect pink fabric. It was like a floral, and it was like a right shade, but then after the baby was born and you start breastfeeding and everything, it didn't fit. And so I have it still. It's tucked away in a box, but I can't wear it because it doesn't fit. And I've been thinking about it. I got the fabric from Hobby Lobby, and I've been thinking about going back and trying to find something similar and making myself another dress that would fit, because it's just, I don't know. I found myself, especially recently, and probably in the last, like, since the baby was born, and my wardrobe has just been so limited. And I was talking with my mom, and I was telling her, I was like, this is the one thing I never in my wildest dreams expected to have a hard time with, was clothes. Because I've been sewing my own clothes since I was like 15, and that's over 10 years at this point. And so whenever something was like, it didn't fit, or I didn't like something, or if I was like, oh, I need a new dress or something, I just made something for myself. And I just haven't had the time to do that. My body's changed. And so I've had a little bit of a wardrobe crisis over the last year, since having a baby. And I'm still in the thick of it. I haven't completely figured it out. But one of the things that I've been trying to kind of work on is continue to embrace as much of the feminine dress as I can. Because one of the things that has happened because of nursing is that I've needed to wear a lot of skirts, and really the only tops that work very well for me are like the basic cotton t-shirts that are they're not super feminine. And I've tried to do some modifications and things, and I've, shortened them and cut it out so that I could tie it in the front so it's a little bit more like nipped in at the waist and stuff. But it's not like my pre-baby super vintage inspired like dresses and everything, full skirts, nipped in waist, like all that. It's just a very, very different wardrobe than what I've been wearing for the last many, many years. Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent, but like I pulled the bag out and I was just like, this is the feeling that I want to try and attain with my clothing. Like, I just love this so much. It is, I can't describe it any better than that. But it's just the most beautiful project bag. And then the inside has this lovely calico-esque lining, and then there's a pocket on the inside which is also in this beautiful, beautiful pink. Like, it's amazing. Susan, if you're watching this, thank you so much. This is just the most beautiful bag. I can't. I'm gonna start getting emotional. Then the skein of yarn that Holly dyed is so perfect, and it fits like an old-fashioned girl so well. And if you purchase one of the skeins, it was a mystery skein, like you didn't know what it was going to be. And so if you purchase one and you haven't received it yet, a lot of people have been receiving them. But if you haven't yet and you don't want to see it, maybe like close your eyes and skip forward a little bit. But I'm going to show it to you because it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So here it is. I can't tell you how much I love this. So this is her yarn label. It's a little bit crumpled. Baby Tam was trying to thieve my yarn again. He likes to steal my yarn. So this is a fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, about 437 yards, and it's called An Old-Fashioned Girl. And it's perfect. Like, it's autumnal, it's cozy, it's got blues and greens and golds and this pinky coral colorway. Like, it's coming up a bit more saturated on the screen than it actually is in real life, and it is just, it's amazing. Like, it is perfection. It's probably the most beautiful yarn that I've ever owned, and I love it. My plan is that I'm gonna knit a like a little shawlette that I can wear like around my neck in the fall and winter and early spring when it's really chilly. I can wear it with my coat, and I can't wait. This is getting on my needles like very, very soon, probably in the next day or two, because I'm also going to do, we're sort of doing like a little knit along with the reading club, and yeah, I just, I'm casting this on really soon. Ooh, I think that was a baby. Yep, that's a baby. Alright, we might have to pause here and I'll have to finish it later, but yeah. So it turns out, baby's up. We're gonna have to cut the podcast short. I'll share my other project that I'm planning to cast on very soon. Next time, it's a present for my husband for his birthday. But yeah, I don't remember where I was, but we're kind of cutting things off here. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. And I hope to talk to you again very, very soon on the next one. I know, you can't be in the videos anymore. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.